Welcome, foolish mortals.
Needless nostalgic narrating, giving us full frontal animated nudity in a Disney movie, but then acting all prudish when we ask why this freedom doesn't extend to your other animated films. Kubrick was not the director in this scene. Instead of dumping all this disjunct backstory into the opening credits, they could have just started the movie 2 minutes ago. Let this be a reminder that even before the deluge of live-action remakes, Disney was hard at work trying to mine their amusement park for film content. I swear Disney is like a 4-year-old trying to understand how jokes work, just looking around the room for anything in sight to become the punchline. The Haunted Mansion is Disney's version of What Did the Blanket Say to the Flower? Couch pillow! We won't show it out of respect for those sensitive to the subject, but someone on production was mulling over the best way to open a family comedy horror romp and settled on immediately depicting a suicide. Going to assume it was the same Imagineer holes who put it in the ride.
Just like I promised, here's the offer. Signed, sealed, and delivered.
Now that I know Jim is representing the buyers and the sellers, I have to say that the movie has committed the mortal sin of a dual agency transaction. Also, is he literally doing this meeting in the ticky room? Have you no shame, Disney?
Sir, can I have a ginger ale over here, please?
Ordering a ginger ale anywhere outside of a plane.
Did you just sell their house?
I sure did.
Because we're looking to buy.
Whatever shenanigans happening in the housing market that's generating this much demand has got to be sinful.
Hi, Sarah. My name's Teddy.
Giving Seth MacFarlane ideas.
Man, you acting like it's Mothra. It's just a spider.
Using Mothra as your reference when Shelob or Aragog are right f***ing there. Could even stay in the Godzilla verse and go with Kumanga if you wanted to, but f*** off with the Mothra nonsense.
You're 10 years old, and it's time I teach you how to kill a spider the right way.
Any person who has dedicated time and effort to perfecting the right way to murder something.
Hey, this is my Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition. What are you doing with it?
Thinking an adolescent would care about the swimsuit edition in the year of our internet lord 2003.
You take it, and you whack it. Go on, whack the spider.
I don't want to whack it.
These two will now use the word whack 17 times in the next 30 seconds like absolutely normal human beings.
The master had wished to meet you tomorrow evening.
Thinking she wouldn't have hung up the phone, 2 creepy references to the master before now.
This could be big.
And what about our big family adventure?
Nice to see a movie tread such new ground as parent works too hard, never sees the family. I'm excited for the fresh take I'm sure we're in store for. Having Michael be super transfixed on this candy bar just to have it disappear 3 seconds later.
And I finally get to see Mommy and Daddy in real estate action.
Thinking kids want to see Mommy and Daddy in any kind of action.
That's some big possum.
This is the kind of line the movie will think we think is funny, and it will do this shit over and over again. Like somewhere Disney has a warehouse full of unsold That's Some Big Possum t-shirts, and they're still flabbergasted they didn't sell better.
Didn't they know we were coming?
Seeing this gate and deciding you want to be on the other side of it.
Let's just go. It's getting late.
Late? You've been here less than a minute.
All right, we're in business.
The lock they saw on the gate 2 seconds ago is apparently evaporated, and this sudden and unexplained transmutation of matter is viewed as good for business. Overselling your Eversell vanity plate, even though it's not that clever and Louisiana doesn't even require a front plate to begin with.
Wow. Now that's something you don't see every day.
Unless you work at a cemetery, or live near a cemetery, or drive by a cemetery on your way to Taco Bell. Wait, is Sarah's jacket and skirt haunted? Because they look yellow now, when they were pink outside the door just 30 seconds ago. And going back earlier to the car, it was yellow again. I'm having blue, black, white, yellow dress flashbacks, and I'm now sure there's some ghost out here who specializes in driving me insane by making dresses look different colors. Out of an abundance of caution, you should immediately exit any room that you see Terrence Stamp entering this slowly.
We'll just have some soup and then we'll get going, okay?
Assuming soup. A souping? Eddie Murphy looks at this armor like he knows that I'm supposed to know that it's probably something from the Disney attraction, and I wish movies would stop telegraphing Easter eggs when I don't even celebrate their particular form of Easter.
You have very beautiful children, Miss Evers.
Commenting on the relative attractiveness of children you just met. Staring, demurring. Plot?
The storm has flooded the road.
And despite wanting to leave, no one will immediately check to verify this information.
That's not the point. You couldn't resist. You just had to come.
Argument I had with my college girlfriend our first time somehow makes it into the script.
The only thing you seem to care about anymore is work.
Oh, but when I'm working hard like this, it doesn't matter as long as I'm bringing you home expensive gifts, right?
I guess we have to accept that they are not going to acknowledge the creepy we might be murdered situation that they are currently in. And that by the end of this, he will learn to be there for his family, and she will learn to not look so much like the deceased fiancé of a 19th century ghost. Stamp scares. A distant cousin to jump scares, but just as sinful.
The way I see it, you only go around the track once, so you do it full out,
all the way around.
But what if you're a NASCAR metaphor and there are multiple laps? Or even an IndyCar metaphor with multiple turns? And God forbid you're a Formula One metaphor and you have to suffer the indignities of Drive to Survive.
He must leave this house, Mr. Evers. He must move on.
It took an entire boring third of this movie to finally get to the first whiff of the central plot. And can I just say, the 30 minutes to set up the dad works too hard shtick was probably about 25 minutes too many. Director saw the surprisingly unnatural triggering of this secret door mechanism and said, "F*** it. This is a movie about a ghost trying to make a cuckold of a realtor. The mouse isn't paying me well enough for this shit. Print it. We're moving on."
Interesting.
I'll get back all the sins if when he walks through that door, Justin Long is already there measuring the room dimensions.
What do you think it is?
That's a strange way to pronounce, gotta fucking run.
There's a scary albino when you need him.
Being a chauvinistic pigmentist.
Have you seen my husband? Excuse me.
We'll find out later that this ghost lady can talk, and there's no reason she couldn't simply say no. You might think I'd have a bit more sense than to sin a haunted house movie for overcandling, but cows gotta moo, bees gotta buzz, and Sin Man's gotta sit.
I was just looking for my husband.
I left him in the library. Right through there.
Movie makes it seem like Ramsley was trying to separate Sarah and Jim all along. But Ramsley brings her to the same library where he left Jim a few moments ago. And the only reason Jim isn't there is that he accidentally found a secret door. Did this whole plan hinge on Jim stumbling around and knocking things over until he accidentally found a secret door?
May I ask you something?
Of course. Anything.
The something she asks is,
This house has been in your family for generations. Why do you want to sell it?
versus the reason she's actually searching the house, which was,
Have you seen my husband?
It's all right. There's nothing to be afraid of.
accepting this as the truth from a creepy man who you just met and won't tell you where your husband is. Also, movie admits that its ghost movie is not scary in the least. I think they thought they'd replace the scares with laughs, but they did not. And now back to the kids who are mindlessly following a supernatural floating glowy orb. This entire family has a death wish, and you will not convince me otherwise.
You don't know the last time that thing's been inspected. Would you just relax? Where's your sense of adventure?
This kid is out here being the only voice of slight reason, and the movie will treat him as the one who needs to grow up and not be so scared. Seriously, this movie's message is straight YOLO porn, and that's my least favorite kind of porn. Here's the problem with doing a suspense comedy and failing at both the suspense and the comedy. This scene is now just 2 minutes cutting back and forth between different people walking down a hallway.
Some big-ass termites, that's all.
That's all? That's all? You think there are termites in that door big enough to make it look like it's breathing, and that is comforting to you? Scarecrows.
What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be up here.
What are any of you doing here? And why does she have these cookies of mysterious age and origin?
Cookies? Don't offer them cookies. They're trespassers. Trespassers don't get cookies.
Santa Claus has entered the chat. Finis Valorum here will do a slow look at these cookies and pick them up to give the platter to them. Then they will take the cookies like they thought he was offering a cookie and then slowly put them back once they realize he just wanted them to hold the platter for some reason. Why is this movie trying so hard to get to 90 minutes? Is this haunted movie actually stretching?
Goblins and ghoulies from last Halloween, awaken the spirits with your tambourine.
And now we're forcing the crystal ball part of the ride into the proceedings as well. I swear I'd take another 30 live action remakes before more of this shit. Do a live action Three Caballeros for all I care. Just don't put me through this again.
Evil and darkness have fallen this night, but now to survive you must gain new sight.
I must first gain new underwear.
Regardless of how little this movie gave him to work with, Eddie Murphy is always a joy to see on screen. So it's too bad I'm still giving the movie a sin for underutilizing such a great comedic presence. Quoting from far superior films, as if that will distract me from sitting the completely bland one in front of me. Let's talk about the floating ghost instrument's plan. If this silly symphony knew he was there, why did they zoom past him in the first place? And what is their overall goal here? To kill him? Play a melody for him? They are seemingly just chasing him to ram into him over and over. Wait, are they trying to f*** him?
But Dad, we have to help them break the curse.
They do not.
She was so very young.
Deciding to put the word very in that sentence.
So, without hope, without love.
I'd love to give this a skip. The movie is finally doing some exposition. Of course, it's in about the most boring way possible because this movie sucks.
And travel down deep under the ground, and there you will find the key that must be found.
Oh, great. The answer lies in a series of fetch quests. What is this, a Star Wars sequel?
There's always, my way.
Your way is terrible, dangerous, conspicuous, and uninteresting. It makes no sense and isn't funny in the slightest. Congratulations, you're in the right movie. Discount Michael Fassbender on a penny farthing should have had a bigger role in this movie.
I see dead people.
Womp womp.
Why are all these ghosts still hanging around here?
When they died, they couldn't find the light.
Oh, that explains almost nothing. Also, why would a medieval knight be buried in a Louisiana graveyard?
Hey, what are you doing here?
Can they see us?
No, of course not.
Movie takes the time to introduce the idea that prior to this moment, living people could not see these ghosts. And that is the last we will hear about that.
If you truly love someone, they never leave you. They remain in your heart forever.
Like cholesterol. How is it possible that the Imagineers at Disney put together a more realistic practical version of this in the 60s for the ride than the movie did with CG in 2003?
We're trying to find my wife, right? I gotta help my wife now. She'll be...
It's not only barbershop quartets on for all the some tune, but it adds exactly nothing to the story or plot. Building your statues with eternally lit removable torches.
Look for a crypt with... Look for a crypt...
A crypt with no name.
This marks the movie's fourth humorous jump scare that is neither humorous nor scary. It will not be the last.
I didn't know you had a bad childhood.
I didn't have a bad childhood.
Then why do we have to have what you didn't have?
Megan is so much the poster child for the kid's sin that I may just start saying Megans from now on.
Oh, no!
Pro tip, when your movie is lacking tension, just drop something through a grate or into water, or both.
Megan, you better look faster!
Nice attempt at a scare and whatnot, but the only reason this is even happening is because you dropped the key. If you don't drop the key, you're out of there a full 2 minutes before these guys even wake up. This entire booby trap system relies on you being a klutz, and that's just some busted underwire. Because it's poor booby trapping. Do I have to explain everything?
Michael, open the door! Open the door!
Michael opens the door instead of just starting over with a new family. Smashing spiders against your child to carry them to a different place to remove them instead of, oh, I don't know, just removing them immediately?
All I want to know now is where's the door out of here?
All I want to know is how the hell you got back in here. Earlier you had to ride a ghost chariot through a second-story stone wall to get out. Now you're just back inside?
Yes, my dear heart, I will marry you.
Jim starts reading this letter halfway down the page so as not to bore the audience with all that filler.
The butler did it? You gotta be kidding me.
Jim would be Realtor of the Year at CinemaSins.
Running away with that girl would have destroyed this house.
Because its foundations were built by the same architects that did Buckingham Palace, and we know without a doubt that they would not have been able to withstand the weight of an interracial couple.
That's not her, that's my wife!
And what she sees in you, I'll never know.
Sick burn, Ramsley, but more information about how any of this reversing a curse via doppelganger kidnapping works would have been more appreciated.
He can't marry her. He's dead and she's not.
Yeah, that's the first thing that would come to your mind. Not that you love her, not that she might be in danger, not that she's already married to you, but that his corporeal status doesn't match hers. The
Good night, Mr. Evans.
Jim gets thrown through this window out of the mansion onto the greenhouse and lands on his car, also known as surviving the Yurchenko double John Wick. Oh, cool, we're finally back to these two. But quick question, what the hell have they been doing the entire time it took Dad and the kids to find the clues, leave the mansion, see all the cemetery ghosts, talk to the quartet, get into the crypt, find the key, lose the key, fight off the zombies, fight off the spiders, return to the mansion, find the trunk, find the letter, read the letter, and get trapped by the evil butler?
It can't be her.
It is her, sir.
This is like when parents in a sitcom try to replace a dead pet with a look-alike pet before the kids notice. Except it's like a million times worse because these are people who are supposed to have been in love. It's a completely bonkers plan that shouldn't have gotten anywhere close to working, but it does because the source material for this movie was an amusement park ride. Jim breaks off a piece of this house pretty easily and doesn't even comment about how that might be a concern for prospective buyers.
I'm not Elizabeth.
Of course you are, my dear.
Gaslighting. Ramsley's a priest too? He must be one of those rise and grind types. Best sin this and move on before he starts talking about optimization. I could see Sarah reluctantly going along with this and putting on the dress, but for someone that is not fully on board with this, she did a fabulous job with the matching eyeshadow.
What are you doing?
Since when can this ball move on its own, and how did it even get out here?
No, it's never too late.
Actually, sometimes it is. That's kind of the whole point of this entire seize the day shit, is that at some point it will be too late.
But the only true failure is when you stop trying.
Again, no. Continually trying can sometimes be a failure to see that a door is closed and it's time to move on. Knowing when that moment comes is the key. This movie has oversimplified cliches coming out of its crystal balls.
Hold on!
With what?
With the same force you used to walk down here, smartass. Not explaining how suspending this box in the air makes it more effective. Jim clearly went to the Lost World School for suddenly being amazing at gymnastics exactly when you need to.
If anyone has any objections...
Yeah, I got a few objections. objections?
Oh, shut up. You were on the other side of that door, on the other side of the hall, and he was talking quietly. There's no way you heard him say that. Also, why is he asking for any objections during this matrimony anyway? That's not a required part of the ceremony, you idiot.
Don't think just because you pull out your sword, I'm gonna let you marry my wife.
Thinking the unsheathing of one's sword has anything to do with marriage.
She's from New Jersey.
Damn, Jim. You don't have to go that hard in trying to turn him off.
Must we continue to listen to the ramblings of a lunatic?
Ramblings of a lunatic.
Your union was unacceptable.
Movie pretends to have something to do with interracial marriage in the 19th century while saying the absolute least amount possible about interracial marriage in the 19th century. The lazy slacker ones and zeros responsible for this abomination of visual vomit. Jim bests a giant demon dragon with gravity on its side with the strength of a single human hand. Also, what even is this nonsense anyway? Did I miss some exposition somewhere about a fire-constructed vengeance dragon that comes out of fireplaces when someone tries to sick demons on an innocent family? A little more info on the underworld police force would have been helpful, because this came out of nowhere.
Leave us alone!
No, Dad, it won't hurt us.
But it will impregnate your dying wife for some like that.
Elizabeth, is it you?
Yes, but I'm also a Jesus metaphor. For reasons.
The ghost ball was Elizabeth.
Stating the obvious because you don't trust your audience to put two and two together and get ghost ball.
Hey. It's my wife.
Last you knew, it was your wife's corpse, and no one has for sure said that this would even save her yet. So maybe tone down the frivolity until you're sure she can come back.
Take this.
What is it?
The deed to the house.
Does he have that on his person at all times? And if not, I need to know how bored you have to get before you decide to learn how to conjure the deed to your house.
Mom, Leo won't shut up. Are we there yet?
Megan's.
I married Maud's ghost.
However, from your photograph, he thought you to have a trustworthy face.
Don't worry, it wasn't because he wanted to wear it.
Hello, Ramsley. I'm Jim Evers of Evers & Evers Real Estate. At your service.
We were not expecting
Black people.
My grandfather spared no expense when he built this mansion.
But they spared every expense on the team.
Oh, baby, this is beautiful. We got a chandelier hanging up here, kids outside playing. It's a beautiful neighborhood. We ain't got nothing to wear. I really love them. This is really nice. Get out. Too bad we can't stay, baby.
Hello? Hello?
your paranoia is definitely under control since you came to understand happy premise number one.
Happy premise number one, there are no aliens.
Happy premise number two.
Why do you want to sell it?
These walls are filled
with watermelon jello.
This is unspeakable! Unspeakable!
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah, I hear you, but I don't see you. Where are you?
I'm a sour ball.
Now, how do you know that?
It's a unit system. I know this.
This house has waited so long to have its shroud of darkness lifted. And tonight, for the first time in